Hey there, Eric Gall here, and last week I did a video for you talking about activities during COVID times, and a lot of people reached out and said that it was helpful for them. So I'm going to continue along that path and maybe do a bit of a mini series today, or this kind of ongoing, but I'm going to continue with it today. And you can see my change of scenery here, and I'll get to that in a minute. But many of you who know me and know my work, you probably haven't heard me talk about activities before, and that's not something that I would typically, a word I would typically use, and I'm usually pretty fussy about the language that I use. And however, many of us use this language of activities and keeping our loved one maybe busy. However, I prefer to talk about how do we help our loved one to have a meaningful day, right? And one of the key things to having a meaningful day for many people is routine and structure. And we've lost a lot of that routine and structure with COVID and our involvement and engagement in the community or at work or in our relationships. So I want to talk to you today about how to get more routine and structure. And it can be as simple as, just setting a, time to go to bed or a time to get up in the morning, right? Kind of the bookends to our day and structure and getting that good, solid night's sleep, right? Just sleep being so important. But bigger than that, thinking about our day and how are we meaningfully going to be using our time in our day. And in last week's video, in case you haven't watched it, you might want to go back and watch it. I talk about contributing in our household, right? And how that can provide a sense of value for a person and partaking in the contributing adult role, right? And helping to grow that person's capability, or as we like to call it, independence. So if that's of interest to you, go back and watch the video from last week. But you see that I'm outside today, and I realize how big of an impact being outside, or at a minimum getting some activity and movement, is in our day. And it's so easy to forget that when we don't have anything pulling us outside, right? Those community activities, those relationships, when we're in a mode of isolation, right? Or in some areas in a lockdown, right? So just getting outside and having that being a cornerstone of our day. And, if you have a trail nearby, to be able to walk down that trail and just have that connection with nature. I was just walking by a bunch of people and they all had their cameras out, and I was like, what's going on here? And there's this amazing owl in the tree, right? And I never would have had that experience and that meaning in my day if I hadn't have stepped outside. And I know the colder weather is coming for many of us, but we can always bundle up, right? We can dress appropriately for the weather, get outside, even if it's for 15 minutes, right? And getting some movement in. And I noticed that I didn't get outside yesterday, and what a big impact that had on me. I was feeling sad, I was feeling grumpy. And then around 5 p.m. I went outside and I went for a short run. I just felt so much better after that. And that's it was a reminder for me, like, okay, I need to do this every single day. It's got to be part of my structure. And it's the exact same thing for our loved ones, for people that have a developmental disability, and that being outside, getting some fresh air, being maybe immersed in nature, if you're fortunate to have that nearby, a trail, and to get some movement is just essential, and building that into the structure of our day. And just one more quick tip around structure that I want to leave you with is we can structure our space, right? Many of us are working from home, and our loved ones at home, and we're trying to coordinate things, and it can be chaotic and busy and it can feel disrupted, and it can be a real struggle. But if we structure our home in terms of designated spaces in our home for designated things that we're doing, so the living room is for maybe socialization and relaxing, but maybe The spare room is for where we're going to do our work, and the dining room table is where we're going to maybe learn or do arts and crafts, right? Because if we just go to the living room and we sit down and we go to do our work or our hobby, it's just very, very easy to switch into, okay, I'm going to turn on the TV and start watching TV, right? So thinking about our space as well is really important in our structure and our routine of the day. So I just want to leave those two things with you, and those things are really important for everybody's health. So hope that was helpful for you. Leave a comment below, and I'm Eric Gall. Together, let's take a small step forward.